Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the series. We're picking up the action in Mark's Gospel, chapter 14. Jesus has been arrested. He's facing an illegal trial by the Sanhedrin, the religious authorities in Jerusalem. They're going berserk because of Jesus' bold confession in who he says he is. He is the Messiah, the Christ, the Anointed One, the Son of God. And they can't handle that. In the meantime, Jesus' disciples have scattered. When he was arrested, they've run to the hills. But Peter has kind of followed what's been happening to Jesus from a distance. He's followed them to the courts of the Sanhedrin, and he's out there in the courtyard. It tells us from verse 66 of Mark 14 that one of the servant girls there said, you're one of his followers, right? No, I don't know the guy. And again, a little bit later on, someone else recognizes him. You're one of this guy's followers, right? No, don't know what you're talking about, Peter says. And then a third time he's challenged, and a third time Peter denies knowing Jesus. It says that immediately the rooster crowed, and Peter remembered Jesus' words back at the Last Supper. Chapter 14, verse 30, I tell you the truth, Jesus answered, today, yes tonight, before the rooster crows twice, you yourself will disown me 3 times. Jesus predicted hours earlier that Peter would disown him, deny knowing him 3 times. And here in the courtyard, as Peter has followed the proceedings from a distance, he has denied Jesus for the 3rd time. Hears the rooster crowing and breaks down. It says that he broke down and wept. While Jesus was making a confession that would lead to the sacrifice of his life, a confession and a statement that was bold, uncompromising, fearless, Peter, in the meantime, was making a confession of his own, a statement that was full of fear, full of compromise, that was full of denial. Despite his bravado at the Last Supper and his commitment and his willingness to even die by Jesus' side, Peter has failed his best friend, and he can't handle it. He broke down and wept. This burly, tough fisherman wept like a baby. He was a broken man. And if you've never been in Peter's shoes, if you've never felt an ounce of brokenness, then perhaps you won't get what I'm about to say next. If you've ever felt like a failure, like you've let down not only yourself but the people that you're closest to, and even God himself, then you know the deepest feelings of shame and remorse and sorrow. That's something of what Peter felt that night, I'm sure. I think for many of us, if not most of us, if not all of us, we actually have to go through some of those emotions, some of those experiences of hitting rock bottom before we actually realize our need. Peter was a headstrong man. He was a man's man. He knew what he wanted. He knew what he knew. He knew what he was going after, and he would not be stopped until he came to the end of himself. And I think that's a healthy journey for all of us who have any sense of pride or ego or drivenness. Sometimes we need to come to the end of ourselves to realize what's truly important and to realize our utter need on the mercy of God. Peter still had to learn that lesson, and we read in John's Gospel, after Jesus has been resurrected, he reinstates Peter. He forgives him of his failure. And we can take comfort in that no matter how often we fall flat on our faces, that Jesus' mercy is always there to pick us back up again, to set us on our feet again, and to help us find our faith again. If you're experiencing brokenness of any sort, I want to encourage you to cry out to God. You're blessed when you're at the end of your rope. The Message says in Matthew chapter 5, with less of you, there's more of God and his rule. So you're blessed when you come to the end of yourself. As you do, cry out to him, because his mercy is greater than your failings.